Studio 33 AD, Catholic Media.
My beloved brothers and sisters in the faith, let us spend a few minutes today, this morning, reflecting on this magnificent gospel story that we have just heard proclaimed from the very end of the Gospel of St. John. This gospel fits perfectly as the epilogue and ending to the story of Jesus. It is the story that is full of symbolism. The Lord Jesus appears to the disciples for the third time. He already appeared twice to them. John wants to let us know that the resurrection transforms all the areas of human life. When he appeared to Mary Magdalene, it was the story of love. When he appeared last week's gospel to Thomas, the Didymus, the unbelieving Thomas, it was about faith, how the resurrection of the Lord transforms and strengthens faith. And today, John would like to let us know that the resurrection is supposed to transform our everyday life. Yes, this mundane, everyday life. It gives our life a new meaning. So let's look at this story and what it says. The disciples go back to Galilee, and they are doing what they have always done. They go fishing. They are fishermen. But that night, they caught nothing. They worked all night and no fish. You probably know from your own experience this kind of situation. We call it the night of frustration, when all your efforts, all your work and dedication, your commitment and determination, all for nothing. We end up, when that happens in our life, and I think that if you are older than 8 years old, you experience that. Frustration, disappointment, tiredness, dejection, when you feel lost in your life. So these 7 disciples on the boat, they symbolize the community of the church that is kind of lost, a church that is in trouble because it has forgotten Jesus, and a church that only wants to rely on the human efforts, human strength, and human wisdom. And as this night of frustration comes finally to a close, Jesus the Lord appears on the shore. Jesus comes down from the risen reality and enters our everyday lives. It's beautiful. Jesus meets us where we are. He wants to meet you and me where we are in our life, and doesn't matter where we are. Jesus comes to our life. And when we welcome him, everything begins to change. Jesus transforms our life. He stands on the shore, and from the distance he asks the disciples, "Children, have you caught anything to eat?" I love this tender voice of Jesus, who calls the disciples children. That's how he calls you and me. My child, you are my child. Have you caught anything to eat? But they don't recognize Jesus, do they? And it's something very interesting that when I did the research on this gospel, that in the original Greek text in which the gospel was written, when Jesus says, "Have you caught anything to eat?" he uses, there is the Greek word there, prosphagion, which literally means something for the bread. Have you caught something for the bread? Of course, he means fish, but I think it's a symbol here. It acquires a symbolic meaning. We rarely eat just dry bread, do we, right? We always eat bread with something. Have you caught something for the bread? I think it's a symbol here, because Jesus is asking them on a deeper level whether they have something that gives meaning to their life, taste to their life, something that gives sense to their ordinary existence. And the disciples have to admit that they have nothing, that their hands are empty. And Jesus is asking them to listen to him, and their life is going to acquire a new and deeper meaning. They will find something for the bread. But what do they have to do? Jesus tells them, cast the net over the right side of the boat. Another symbol here, right? You see, very often you and I, what we do in life, we search for happiness and satisfaction, do we not? We search for it. And very often what happens is, in search for happiness, we cast the net in the wrong place, in wrong places, and we pull it out empty, and we end up frustrated and depressed, thinking that this, that, or the other thing will give our life true meaning and sense to our existence. If only I get this job, I would be happy. If only I marry this girl, she will make my life happy. If only my husband would change, our life will be awesome again. If I was moved to a different parish, I would finally be happy in my ministry. Actually, I should turn it around. If I was moved to a different parish, I would be unhappy because I love you so much. But you get my point, that every time we make this mistake, that something out there is going to make my life happy, that something out there needs to change in order for me to be finally satisfied. But something has to change in here rather than out there. And when we cast the net in the wrong places, we end up like the disciples, empty-handed, tired, depressed, out of whack, our life without sense. Do you have something for the bread? Do you have sense in your life today? Cast the net in the right place. Listen to Jesus, and you will find satisfaction and peace, shalom, incredible happiness. So the disciples thankfully listened to the Lord, and they catch 153 large fish. As long as I've been studying the Gospel of St. John from the time of the seminary, you know that this number has been really thought about by many scholars and church fathers. What is that number a symbol of, 153? The most common interpretation is that in the ancient times there were 153 types of fish that were known to people. So that would be a symbol of wholeness, right? That the church invites people of all races, all languages, everybody is invited into the net of the church. But for my purpose here today, I found another, maybe not better, but different interpretation, as we are talking about searching for meaning in your life and harmony in your life. One church father, Evagrius Ponticus, he died in the year 399, he thought about that number, what could it mean? And he said this, that there are actually three numbers here, because number 100 symbolizes square, number 28 triangle, and number 25 circle. So adding these numbers is 153, and it creates perfect harmony. I kind of like it, this interpretation. Jesus brings peace into your life. When they cast the net in the right place, when they hear Jesus' order, they bring this net of fish, which means that they find perfect harmony in their life, finally satisfaction, Their life is in order. And as I end, there is one more thing. We hear this strange line in the gospel that none of the disciples dared to ask him, "Who are you?" because they realized that it was the Lord. And I think the same has to be with us. During our Eucharistic gathering, during Holy Mass, we do not ask, "Jesus, where are you?" Because I hope that all of us have faith. We believe, "Yes, you are here, my Lord. You are here in the midst of this community, of this parish, of this cathedral." In the moment I will lift the bread and will say the words of Jesus, "This is my body," I will raise the chalice, "This is my blood." And in it we recognize the presence of the Lord, presence of Jesus that is life-changing, life-transforming, profound, because Jesus comes to the dirt of our everyday life today in order to transform it and to change it. All of us lack something for the bread. Who of us can say that our lives are perfect? We all are casting nets in many different places of our life. And John the Evangelist wants to tell us today, listen to the tender voice of Jesus. "My child, I am here for you. I come into your life. Cast the net in the right side of the boat, and you will find the meaning for your life. And the night of your frustration will be transformed into a glorious morning of the day of fulfillment." And that's what we all long for, and we can find it in our blessed Lord.
Studio 33 AD, Catholic Media.